before 30 years old, follow somebody. Go to a small company. Normally, in a big company, it is good to learn processing. You are a part of a big machine. But when you go to a small company, you learn the passion, you learn the dreams. You learn how to do a lot of things at one time. So before 30 years old, it's not which company you go, it's which boss you follow. It's very important. A good boss teaches you differently. And from 30 to 40 years old, you have to think very clearly when you're working for yourself. If you really want to be entrepreneur. When you're 40 to 50 years old, you have to do all the things that you are good at. Don't try to jump into the new area. It's too late. You may be successful, but the rate of dying is too big. So 40 to 50, think about how can focus on things that you are good at. But when you are 50 to 60 years old, work for the young people. Because young people can do better than you. So rely on them, invest on them, making sure they're good. So when you are over 60 years old, spend time for yourself. On the beach, sunshine, right? It's too late for you to change normally. But this is my advice to the young people. 25 years old, make enough mistakes. Don't worry. You fall, you stand up. You fall, you stand up. Enjoy it. 25 years old, enjoy the show, enjoy the show. I didn't have a rich father. Tried it 3 times for university, all failed. I applied for Harvard for 10 times, all failed. They don't even want to see me. For the last time, I went to the Teachers College, which was considered the 3rd or 4th class of my city. So I applied jobs 30 times, got rejected. It was so difficult at that time. I was so frustrated because I taught in the university. My pay was $10 a month. Because I could not find a good job in 1994. Discussed that I'm going to do something called internet. And 23 of them against it. They said, this is a stupid idea. We have never heard about internet. And you know nothing about computer. And I never thought I was smart. Nobody believed that I could be successful because everybody say, well, this guy think differently, think crazily. They think about something that never work. I tried to borrow $3,000 from the banks. Took me 3 months, but I still cannot get it. We talked to over 30 or 40 venture capitalists. Everybody said, no, forget it. A lot of people said Alibaba is a terrible model. As I said, I believe it. I think this thing could be big. I never thought it would be that big like today. But I believe that something is waiting for me there. And I have to work hard to prove myself. That was the tough experience. So we gathered $50,000 from 18 founders. We started. For the first 3 years, we did not have even $1 revenue from our business. It was not easy. Why it keeps going ahead, going forward? Because I received lots of email of thanks from the customer. They say, this is such a great thing. We cannot pay you, but this thing helped us. If you keep on helping us, one day you will be successful. And I believe this. Little by little, we build up our business. Little by little, we build up our ecosystem of the infrastructure. And now after 16 years, we have an Alibaba group, we have a Tmall group, we have a Taobao group, we have Alipay. And people said, you are so smart. How could you make a company like that? Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jack Welch, Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg. The difference between those people and other people, they are always optimistic for the future. They never complain. They always try to solve the problems of the others. When you're optimistic, it's always opportunity. People, same here today. Jeff, where's the opportunity? I don't have a job. I don't have this. I don't have that. We are at the best time of this century. The best assets you have is that you are young. Don't complain. Let the other people complain. The opportunity always lies where people complain. Think about how you can make things different. Is there anything I can do that make the difference? And then when you think about this, start to do it. I saw a lot of people, young people, have fantastic ideas every evening, but in the morning they go to the office same again. Being an entrepreneur, you have to do the things before the other people do. You have to wake up before the other people wake up. You have to be more brave than the others. Use instinct. Everything you do is to the need of the customer. To everybody, to any person, tomorrow is new. Make the move, make the action. Whether investors believe it this or not, whether your friends believe it or not, whether your parents believe it or not, that's not important. You believe it, your team believe it, and work day and night on this. That's how the things happens. Make enough mistakes. You fall, you stand up. Any mistake is an income, is a wonderful revenue. Don't worry about the money. Money follow the people. People should follow the dreams. If you have a dream, just to go ahead. I think nobody can conquer the world. We only can serve the world. Either work for the others or work for yourself. And I choose the way working for myself. Working for myself, that means working for the society. If you really want to work for yourself, think about the others. Because only when the other people are successful, when the other people are happy, you'll be successful, you will be happy. I think today people worry a lot about the world, about the economy, China economy in the world, but I'm very optimistic. When people start to worry, that is the opportunity is. But I worry about the blood testing, and she created good things. And I think great innovations, great companies always happen in the tough times. The lives like the music, you have up, you have a down, you have a long, you have a short notes. And I like your American movie, life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get, right? So I'm pretty optimistic. The opportunity in the future for equality is huge, because in the last century, the IT is for big companies. The globalization is for big companies. But now with the technology, we can serve those 80% of the companies that never been served. We can serve the 80% of the young people that have never been served. Technology for internet is so cheap, so easy to use. One of the reasons why we grow in China e-commerce so fast, much faster than the US, is because our infrastructure of commerce in China was too bad. When it is too bad, something happens and goes. Today, we are working on the rural areas of China. I can never imagine that China, about 800 million people still live in the rural areas, are farmers. And there are about close to 200 million people. Their income is less than $1 per day. And before the internet, it's impossible for these guys to reach the PC because it's so difficult. Even people like me, I don't know how to use a PC. But now 80% of the farmers, those people using mobile phones. When I have the mobile phones, the internet, the data, things change a lot. So I'm excited about the future. People always worry. That's the, I love the young kids sitting there and talking about the dream, the hopes, because if they have the hope, we have the hope. That's what I believe.
And let's just take what you do. And I've loved every description I've ever heard about how you serve people, and your story about the bamboo farmers and your wife and her friends. It was fabulous. But where's this going? What are you going to do? What are your plans to maximize the use that people in remote rural areas of China can make of their cell phones besides ordering your projects? How are you going to get it? Are you going to get them in the banking system through cell phones? How?
Well, we never know that we can grow so fast. The past 5 months, we covered 4,500 villages. And these people, normally they use in very traditional way. It took them like we went to a rural area. It took the farmers 2 hours to walk to the downtown in the middle of the town and buy things. But today, because the mobile phone, and we can deliver things to their home, to their village within 72 hours. I remember well, last week I read a very interesting thing. This is amazing. There is a girl, she told me a story. She said her grandfather, 92 years old birthday. And for his life, he always wanted to try one Western style food. But he lived in the rural areas. There's no such restaurant food. So she said, I tried on the internet, book a restaurant dinner for Western food delivered to that village. And they finally immediately find one restaurant. There are three guys. They took like a 3 days bus from Shanghai to that village, made an Italian spaghetti and a beef for them for this 92 years old birthday. And whole village was excited. Everybody says, wow, you can order food, Western style food. So buy almost everything. And also we're helping, there are a lot of farmers, they plant a lot of apples, great apples. But 90% of the apples rotted because there's nobody buy them. They normally buy by track. You know, if you sell the apples, they sell whole track. And using the traditional way, they can sell by whole basket of the apples. But now, because of the internet, they sell by one. Each apple they sell $1. Or 1 RMB or 2 RMB for each. So the farmers see using internet, they can buy and sell using the mobile phone. That changed their lives. And I think it's exciting. And people need examples when they see, well, my neighbor made money through online to selling things. My neighbor buy much interesting things online. People start to learn. And more people start to buy the mobile phones. We cannot make all the mobile factories to sell phones to them. Only they know the mobile phone really works, helping change their lives, they start to buy the mobile phones.
Just one more question, and then do you think this will make the current problems like the current problem in China less likely? That is, if we'll have more market information and the market will drive where the investment goes instead of the government trying to make judgments about, I better build another housing development or office development here, there, yonder, and you wound up with a bubble. Well, if it comes from the bottom up, is it more likely that fewer bad things will happen?
Yeah, I think the last week I was in Seattle discussing about the China economy. I think you American people worry too much about the China economy. Well, you see, every time when you start to worry about China, China goes better. Every time you think China is a problem, we'll get better. But when you have to say, you have a high expectation of China, China always a problem. Like parents have the expectation of the kids, are the same. But there's a big difference between American consumption because people say, well, the economy is bad, so China consumption will be good low. No, totally different. You Americans love to spend tomorrow's money. And the other people's money, maybe. Or maybe the children's money. We Chinese love to save money. We are probably the largest country, the safe deposit in the whole world because we've been poor for so many years. When we need money, we put in the banks because someday we know the disaster is coming, so we can spend the money. So when the economy is bad, we still have the money to spend. You guys probably don't. You worry. And the second thing is China been focusing on developing for the past 30 years. China government so strong on investment, so strong on exporting, but they are too weak on the domestic consumptions. Domestic consumption is not driven by government, it's driven by entrepreneurship, driven by the market, not the government. So in the past 20 years, government is so strong. Now they get weak. It's our opportunity. It's our showtime to see the market economy, entrepreneurship, how we can develop the real consumption. I think if the China develop the great consumption, we have a 300 million middle class In next 15 to 20 years, we're gonna half billion middle class. We need to import a lot. So when we start to import, that's a great. It's gonna. I worry a lot when we export. You know, when we export, we got a terrible sky, we have a terrible water, we have a terrible environment. When we start to import, we got to be better. So that's all the great opportunity, guys. Be happy about that. I'm serious.
I agree with that.
I'm serious. Yeah.
I'm, we,
Worry about yourself. Don't worry about
the reason some of us worry about China is we depend on you to buy our debt. However, I tried to be more Chinese when I was president. I saved a lot of money, so.
Good. Good.
But I just wanted you to say that because I really believe that. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. The trend toward greater internal consumption is, I think, will remain unbroken in spite of whatever the difficulties are in the next few months. I think it's important not to overreact. You can't break the trend. You've got to clean up the land from chemical contaminants. You've got to clean up the air. You're going to do it.
Yep.
And a lot of Chinese will make a lot of money out of that. There'll be a lot of great new companies, and there'll be opportunities to import from other places.
Yeah.
So can you discuss your theory of what you're doing and other things in terms of whether it advances equal?
Good morning. Good morning. Let me just.
Morning.
Morning. The video is taking a direction that I didn't want. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think that was one of the best of Jack Ma's videos.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways,
I guess it's also it's also teaching me to pre-select the video so that I know what I'm going to be watching myself. Because
yeah,
this is not. Anyway, good morning. In our wake up and win that has been shaky the past few days. I hope you're well. Are you well? How are you?
I am good.
Okay.
I am good.
Okay.
You are whatever you decide to be. I can be tired. I can be stressed, but I choose to be good.
Yeah. I hope you had great festivities for your birthday.
Yes, I did. Thank you. I did.
All right. No, that's good. That's good. I'm so disappointed in the video. I don't know if it's worth continuing to stream because this was
No,
streaming.
I think maybe we can just discuss whatever we got from it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I looked at the first part because I was preoccupied in the beginning, but I looked at the first part about what to prioritize in terms of age, like in which age range, and what to prioritize as part of personal development. I don't know if you got that, but that was just the first part. I don't know how long it went to.
Yes, I also got that. And I also got, I was just encouraged by him. You know, when you think when he's saying when he got money, it took 3 years without revenue after borrowing so much money. And this is why yesterday, when I was speaking to my team last night, I was speaking about visualization. I was speaking about knowing your why. Because if you don't know your why, such challenges will just throw you off. You'll decide this is not the right, I misheard what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, you know. And just how small are our dreams? Imagine being the person to start internet, to start Alibaba, to start such massive. And here we are with our little dreams, and any little challenge just throws us off. So it is so important that the vision is clear and the vision is written down, because you know, there's times when you watch TV and the network goes and goes, Sometimes that's what happens with our dreams, and if you don't have the blueprint of what your dream is, it's so easy to give up on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, my encouragement is just stay true to the dream, stay true to the process, visualize it as much as you can, because we always build twice, first in your head and then in reality. If you cannot see it in your mind, we all gifted with sight, but we're all not gifted with vision. So it is so important to be able to visualize, especially if, for example, nobody in your household or your family has ever traveled and you're in a business with a travel incentive. If you can't see that you're the one person who can get a passport and travel, you're the one person who can actually own a car if nobody else in your family has done that, we will never achieve these things. So we need to learn the art of dreaming and then look at the big things that you can achieve. Jack Ma is a great example, so yeah, that was my takeaway from this morning.
Oh, amazing, amazing. I think I really echo your words there, that we need to wake up each day and think about how can we change the world. Because I think
Mm.
the one thing that is, I'm hearing him talk about, maybe it's because he's towards the end of the video where he's talking about the comparison between America and China and all these things, and then he's saying when we get the money, we save because we know that there's tough times ahead, things like that. And as I'm thinking about building a business while on survival mode. For me, that's the one thing that came up to say. Um, it's so unfortunate that as Black people, we have been poor for a very long time. Our systems, everything just screams poverty. Even when you do get an opportunity to improve yourself, you find that there's just so much poverty in the family. Welcome. I can see someone just joined us. Tandazile just joined us. Welcome. There's so much poverty in the family, you find yourself having to go back to save everyone, even in your home. It doesn't even have to be in your extended family where you come from, even just within your household. You don't grow at the same pace. So there's poverty within the household where you need to be saving everyone. And now, thinking about it, how many people in our businesses or people that we bring into our businesses in our teams are actually on survival mode? How many people actually think I need to buy bread versus I need to change the world? Very few people think about changing the world, which is why you get people saying things like, is it possible for me to just sell without recruiting? Because the mindset is not impact. The mindset is quick gains for myself. That is the mindset that this person has. And that's not them really. It's not them because they don't want to lead. They don't want it's what's the word? It's the after effects of lack. It's the after effect of being impoverished for a very long time. So the person is just trying to gain. And I think I like what he was saying in the beginning about the priorities at each age range. Life is usually better looked at or viewed in decades. To say in your 20s and in your 30s, that's actually learning phase. That's a learning phase. That's when you're making most of the mistakes. That's when you are trying to figure out your skills. That's when you're looking for mentors, all those things. But you cannot be hard on yourself during the time and say, I am not yet a millionaire. I'm not, because actually that's the time where you should be learning. But because of poverty, you'll get people in their 20s and their 30s, saying, this thing is not working for me. I am leaving, I am quitting, I am. When you should be learning. This is the time to learn. This is the time to expand your network. Those are the real currencies. Those are the real skills that will give you, a different life in the long run. So just knowing the priorities and knowing that we are not supposed to figure everything out as we start, because it's part of the long game, playing the long game basically, where you're not just doing things that are going to benefit you and your family today, but you're also doing things that are going to benefit you 10 years and even after you are here, things that are going to outlive you. You want
To
those
leave a
kind of things
legacy.
to leave a
Mm.
legacy. So yeah, it got me challenged to say, am I really living in my purpose, or I am living to survive, to buy bread? This is why when those things, we struggle for those things, which we should really, because when you're building a business, it's not all rosy. But when we now don't have electricity or we don't have bread, we say, hi, this thing is not working, let us quit. You're quitting because your basic needs are not met, but are your personal development needs met? Are you in the right circles? Are you in the right? I was actually looking at something just now on Facebook. I don't know this lady, but I just saw her writing a post saying, this is the end of the road for me in network marketing. I'm trying to look at her. I don't really know her. I guess she was in another company. But now I'm just reading the comments. People are like, yo, you did well. Da, 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 da. And this one is 28 years. And I'm thinking, at 28, you need network marketing. That's when you need it the most, because that's actually the peak of your growth era. You need to be learning as much as possible during that time. But you may just find that something happened and she was discouraged and she felt like she's not moving or it's not happening fast enough. And she thought, let me give up the one thing that is giving me consistent growth. But if then the person wasn't evaluating from that angle of consistent growth, they were evaluating from that angle of quick returns, they were able to look at it and say, okay, this must go. So if we really looked at life, and I know it's hard because every day it's survival. When we get off this meeting, the electricity units that you don't have will remind you that you're poor. The airtime that you don't have. In fact, you could be cut off from this meeting if you don't have enough airtime or enough internet. But the truth of the matter is, if we stay in survival mode, this is how then 20 years, 30 years from now, we'll still be in survival mode. There's nothing that will change until we change the perspective or the why we do things. And I don't think people like Jack Ma, built what they have built because they wanted bread. They built it because they wanted to impact a lot of people, including people they don't know. This is why their daily needs are taken care of, even without them worrying, because they found a way. I think that's Jim Rohn saying, find a way to serve many, and your things are going to be taken care of. But we don't want something that makes us serve the masses, because that requires more out of us. It requires us to be more balanced, to know what to do, like we even though we like it, yeah, I want more people to join my team, but we know, that the truth is we don't even have the capacity to support 5 people at the least. We don't even have the capacity to help 10 people in our team because of the way we are not really working on ourselves. So yeah, that is just for me, I think that's the light bulb moment to say, if we are going to leave legacies, we are not going to be thinking about bread and airtime and fuel, even though those are some of the things that even maybe our wording, maybe our messaging. I've had this conversation so many times with my sponsor to say, we actually know the people that we actually need in our business. It's We say it like you just need that extra 200 for milk, but those are not the people that stay to build the business. The people that need that extra 200 for milk, extra 100 rand for this, are not the people that stay. The people that stay are the dreamers. You talked about visualizing and thinking about your what. Those sometimes you'll just find someone that has built a big business, maybe traditional business, coming in and still making it. And then, it becomes true that this person is in the business of impact. They already have so many things going on, but they still come in this business and they still want to make it work. And then you find that one who needs it the most, like who needs it the most. And you know that this person would use that extra 1,000 and they play with the opportunity. What is lacking there? Is it a need or a vision? you know, obviously the marketplace doesn't reward a need. Otherwise, all the poor people would have money because they need it. But it's all about value creation and realizing that you are here to build something that is bigger than yourself. So long as someone thinks I am here to just hustle and make a few bucks just so that I can pay my bills, that's short-term thinking, and they don't last. No one can ever build a 10-year legacy business out of I need this, I need that. The people that build something that outlives them are the people that look beyond their immediate needs.
And can I just add another aspect of it? When you were talking about operating from a place of a poverty mentality, I remember when I started doing network marketing, I remember how I was struggling so much financially. And the thing I have discovered in this business is that your energy is contagious. You may be saying the right words, but if your energy is one of desperation, people sense that. When somebody's talking to you and they're desperate, you start feeling uncertain. Like, is this person going to harm me? You just start feeling unsafe. You just start feeling unsure. And I remember when it was coming to month end and people were owing me money. And I would get so desperate because I knew this is where my income comes from. I have to meet this target. And you start to be maybe a little bit rude, a little bit impatient with people who owe you money. And it's like, I have to do this by tomorrow. No, you have to pay me by tomorrow. I have to finish my targets. I have to. And, as I grew in the business, as my income grew, I became more relaxed. I started meeting targets not only from profits, I started meeting targets from my salary, if I can put it that way. And therefore, when somebody said to me, oh, sorry, my child got sick yesterday, I can't pay you, and it was the day before month end for me, I can only pay you next week, I'd be more relaxed. And I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll see you next week. And then what would happen is another team member or another member in the business would go, because a lot of us in the same area would go and sell, and then they would have that same desperation that I began with, and the people will try and buy from them, and then later on they'd come back to me and they'd be like, no, I tried to buy from this person, but they were harassing me, and it was just too much pressure and stuff. And that's what happens when we are self-focused. They said once that the difference is that a poor person is living hand to mouth daily. It's not a wealthy, like an average. Then you move to just being a middle class average person surviving. You then start living bill to bill, month to month. And the difference is when you're still poor, you need food every day, you need the electricity and all. And then you move from that to there comes a phase in your life where you start saying, oh, you know what, I've got a new car. Do you know what, I bought a new house. But when you become wealthy, a wealthy person by their language, because they start talking about generational wealth. They start talking about what they're doing for the next generation. You know,
Yeah.
like you're talking about making an impact on other people, leaving a legacy. It's no longer about me every day surviving. It's now about, and that is true wealth. When you, whatever you do today, benefits the generations to come. Imagine the person who made the light bulb. For generations and forever, it's affected us in a positive way. People who manufactured helicopters, you know, and stuff, we're now able to fly within a few hours, whereby before it would take weeks and months to get to another continent. So when your mindset changes to being a wealth builder, a generational wealth builder, you know, that's where the shift is. And your wealth will be so much more than when you're thinking, I just need bread and milk for today. And when you transform your mind to impacting lives, you actually then can buy the bakery. And you won't have to worry about bread every day anymore. You know,
Yeah.
so that's what looking at other people's needs does. You know, it gives you everything that you need.
Yeah. And sometimes that's so true, hey. And sometimes it's sacrificing your comfort, really. It's so funny how people think, even as a leader, you're speaking from a point of privilege. Like you are saying, we must do this, we must buy stock, we must, it's because you already earn so much money, like you earn so much money. That's why you can afford to do that. And
But you
and
started
and
at the same point as
we
them.
started
They
at the
forget
same
that you
point,
started
and
there also.
we literally start over every month. All of us will start at the same point, but again, it's also, which is why I always recommend the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind to anyone that really is starting out in entrepreneurship. And sometimes people don't relate because they're just like, what exactly will this book do? But the truth is, we'd be so shocked how much of a poverty mindset has crippled us. We'd be so shocked how much, even with the best opportunities, we still will not break even, will not make the money that other people are making in the same opportunities because of how we see things. Even the thinking that rich people have it easy, or rather, people that look like they're in a better position than you, they have it easy. You don't think they've made different sacrifices. You just think it was brought to them on a silver platter. So, as such, they must give it to you like that. So it's the system. The system has successfully, kept us stuck, kept us stagnant, and really changing. I listen to my three, soon to be 4 year old, and sometimes you'll just hear him saying, Good imali. I'm just like, how do you even know that there's no money? He's just going to say things like, I know there's no money, or I know you don't have money to do what. I'm just like, as early as your age, you are already seeing scarcity of resources. Who taught you scarcity? Like, who taught you that there's lack? Who taught you that there's limited resources? But then again, it's programming, it's the environment, the people around him. A lot of them have been saying there's not enough, more than they've been saying there's abundance. And he knows it. He has got, maybe he started out having big dreams, but he got to a point where he's shrinking them because he knows that there's no money. My parents don't have money to fund my dreams and things like that. And now think about that from that age of just being conscious about the world and, getting to the teen years, the 20s. That's now the productive years when you're starting to work, when you're starting to take small jobs and everything. The deconstruction of that mindset that there's not enough, there's no money, it's going to take so many years, because that's literally over 20 years of hearing there's not enough, there's no money, money is scarce, money is, even the things that we see, crime means that the scarcity of money, there's not enough resources. So others, sometimes I'll just watch the news or see on Facebook, And they're talking about a break-in or theft or something, and then you hear people saying, so long as the government doesn't give us more jobs, then crime is going to be high. And I'm like, but people that commit crimes, they don't commit them because they are looking for jobs. That's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for jobs. They're looking for instant gratification. They are looking for a forceful way of getting things, overnight things. So I just think we need to always check our money mindset. It plays a bigger role than any other thing. In fact, our daily lives, each and every decision we make, the mindset comes back. Even when you're listening to someone talk, someone is not going to sit in this meeting and listen to Jack Ma. They're going to immediately tell you that, what am I going to listen to someone that doesn't come from the same background as me, that obviously has different privileges, that is a billionaire? You guys are dreamers, you guys are delusional, and so on and so forth. That's a money mindset. Someone is not going to be inspired by a top earner in their company because they will want to explain why they got there. They will say things like, no, this person manipulated something, or this person has so much money to buy, or whatnot. But our money mindset just plays a big role in everything, every decision, every conversation, every encounter. Our money mindset, even this is how others give products out on credit while other people sell cash. It's the money mindset, the scarcity. I am surviving. I don't care when this person pays me, but the day they pay me, I'll be grateful that they did. That kind of mentality, it's really crippling us. And if we had more people that are doing well in our circles, it would be easier for us to change our mindset, because then we automatically would know how successful people think. But we find that we have more of the surviving people, the people that are in scarcity, the people that are hustling, the people that are in poverty. So we tend to adopt the mindset of the people that are around us. It becomes the default thinking. So yeah, man, I think, just maybe to wrap up the session, let us think more about the kind of life that we want. Do we really want to buy bread and be happy that we bought bread? Or we want to leave a legacy? Do we want to impact the few cousins and friends that we bring into our businesses, or we want to build a global business and be a global icon and speak in global stages and impact, generations, people we don't even know? What exactly, what is the why of doing things? Are we doing it for just now? Even within our businesses, you find someone just chasing a rank, and as soon as they get that rank, they go back to their comfort zone, because that's all they were chasing. They were not looking for continuous growth, continuous development. They were just looking for that short-term, fix. If I become this, then it's going to prove to the haters that I can win. And maybe if they see me winning, they will join me. There's people that will see you winning and they will be intimidated even further. They start saying things like, yo, now that you're far there, I don't think we can do this because you look like you're more successful now. I wish I joined you 5 years ago. The right people should join you, not the ones that you want, not the cousins and the friends, and the people that really want to impact lives the way you want it. Those are the people that you want. So yeah, I hope this was valuable, and I hope it really, really did just challenge you to think differently and want more for yourself. Thandazile, are you there? Did you learn something? I hope you did. I hope you did. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much,
Thank you.
Lisa.
Have a great day.
Thank you
yeah.
so
Thandazile
much.
is
Thank you so
speaking.
much.
Yeah. Did you learn something new? I know you
Yeah,
joined late.
I
Okay.
did learn something, even though I joined late, but I got a lot. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shem. This
Yeah.
was something big. I've never thought about it like this. And yeah, when you're talking about it, it makes sense, really makes sense, because I'm looking at it ukuthi I think when you move kweneta nje athethe something angasabhadali nawe umhambela under pressure naye ngazathi uyabona ukuthi ngathi ihlolela ngathatha into yesihlupheki. You see that thing. So it really gives me the idea which, you know what, someone needs to push, work so hard so that you do things thinking about the impact that will help the world, not just yourself and your family. That
Yeah.
will help someone far even in your family. Like dawusita umuntu lo ngekho close to you exactly. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
helps. Shem. Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you. And we're benefiting from so many things that we don't know who created them. You know, we don't know who started these hospitals. You know, some of them we hear they were started by missionaries and you know, and if you think about it, obviously they didn't have the money. You know, like when you look at all these hospitals and schools and clinics and you know they were started by people that had a bigger purpose than just profit, you know. And you're thinking about it that these people are long gone, but even today we still say it's you know we cannot talk about that without remembering them. So many things, you know, it doesn't even have to be like in our line of work, just looking around. There's so many things that people did, you know, over 30, 40 years ago, even before we were born. And you think about it, if those people were looking for immediate gain for their families, they wouldn't have left a legacy. You know, I was listening to I listened to Louise Hay. I don't know if you know her, Vera. Louise Hay, and I've been listening to her for quite some time, especially when I just need to mental to tone down in terms of my,
Yes.
you know, so I listen to her a lot. And I then read the comments on YouTube yesterday, and someone said, you might be long gone, but you know, you left a legacy. I'm like, she died. You know, she's okay, obviously she's an old woman, but you know, sometimes you just don't really follow the history of the person. You just focus on, you know, what they're doing, what they're serving you with. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, she died for the past, I think I started listening to her when I was in Zanzibar. That was 2024. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, she does not know how much it's impacted my life. She doesn't know how much it's changed my life. I didn't know that she died, you know. So, really, you know, when you've built your legacy, people don't even care to see where does Vera stay? Let us see her home. You know, they just like the impact that you're bringing. You know, the impact, and you know, even for Dr. Miles, even for Jim Ron, all these people, it took. You know, I would have listened to them for a year for me to know that they died. You know, I don't know, in my mind, I just never thought, you know, and it would just shock me every time that, oh my goodness, you left a legacy. I'm like, you died? Oh my goodness. You know, the way you are still changing our lives, it's kind of like you're still alive. It's kind of like, even within our profession, you know, we still speak about people like, who's this lady that you introduced me to? This very hyperactive lady who died, Jessie Lee. You know, we still talk about your Jessie Lees like they are here because impact,
Yeah.
guys, impact.
And
If
they
we can
yeah.
just build legacies that outlive us, you know, and this is why the mindset of let me just sell is very problematic. It's very limiting. This thing of I just focus on selling the product, it's very limiting. Even if we have the best products, it's very limiting because you know over the years there's always innovation, change of products, but when it comes to purpose and impact and your life calling, that is ever relevant, it's evergreen, you know. And don't tire as well, because sometimes we do get tired, Vera, where you're just like, I post so much onto people that don't reciprocate. What helps me is thinking of it like I am in the training field all the time. Like even this meeting, I consider it being in the training field. You know, even that call that you make to a team member, even if it drains you, by the time you're done, you just regret and you're just like, you know what? Let me just let them be. I don't need to call anyone. I don't need to encourage anyone. They must just do what they want. But trust me, if in the bigger scheme of things, you are a helper, you are a servant, you are a leader, no one is going to come into your business and make you rethink leadership and make you think maybe I should just focus on selling. Selling is more rewarding. You will always just work with new people. But what happens there is that you're ever sharpened, you're ever sharpened, you're ever sharpened. And now, 10, 20, 30 years from now, when we see you starting your own business, company, or coaching practice, or leadership, whatnot, it doesn't shock us. We just say Vera has always loved pouring onto people. Vera has always loved serving people. This is not new. In fact, that space was constricting her. She wasn't able to expand further because her bigger calling was no longer points and teams and leading people at smaller scale. She had a bigger vision. She communicated it every day, but the people that she communicated it with, they never appreciated it. There's a friend of mine who left network marketing about 2 years back. And she says she would get messages from her previous team saying, yo, now that you are gone, we miss those words of encouragement. We miss those trainings. We miss you. No one has ever believed in us that way. The other day, she even told me that she got, I think, 200 or 400 rands, as a gift from a former downline, and she said, my first flight experience, it was because of you. You believed in me. And, you even said things like, take your kids to private school. You can afford to. You can do it. And I'm just like, imagine if we really do that. Like, if we really are just responsible for opening people's mindsets and making people dream and making people want more, desire more. Maybe that's all we need to do within this profession. Not so much of pushing people and guilt tripping them and just making them want more, just making them see the possibilities. I was reflecting yesterday, and saying I'm going to be taking my ninth flight, and that is my ninth trip, by the way, not ninth flight. So it could easily just be my 18th flight in my life, and just about 4 years ago, I took my very first flight in my life. My very first flight, and it is through network marketing. And I'm thinking about it. What if I never wanted more for myself? What if I never believed? What if I never pushed? That very first flight, even though it was an international flight, it needed visas and all these things, but the truth is that first flight unlocked something, possibilities. It made me see that actually flying is not for the elite. It's for me as well. I deserve it. I can do it. So much that after that, I took a local flight to Cape Town. And then after that, I took a solo flight to Zanzibar. Now, who is flying solo? It's me. I could do it, because I believed nothing is impossible. And now I was reflecting on it, thinking that, oh, wow, after that, I literally flew every year. 2022, literally every year there was a flight. And last year alone, I took 4 in total, 4 flights. And all those 4 flights, it was me booking for myself. It wasn't even company funded, not even, and then now even last year, I got a chance to fly my husband, to fly, I think about 1, 2, 3 new members in my team for the very first time. They flew for the very first time. This year, there's 2 new members that flew for the very first time. So basically, now I am taking others on this journey of success with me, and I'm just thinking, sometimes it just takes that one person to believe in you and to open your mindset. And after that, you become unstoppable. I see Vera has unstoppable there on her back. It just takes that one person to believe in you. And now think about it, Vera. All the things maybe that you think you want, what if you stopped wanting them for yourself and start wanting them for other people? Automatically, they come to you. right? Like they just come to you because that's how the universe works. You take care of others and then your needs are met automatically. So instead of just saying, I want, maybe the language is, I don't want to be a diamond. I want to raise a diamond. Automatically, you become a diamond when you raise a diamond in your team, but we become so self-absorbed in wanting things for ourselves. We become so, and Tanazile is talking about scarcity. We just operate from a place of scarcity where everything is hoarded. You get that 10 rand, you put it in your pocket. You know how our grannies would put money in their breasts. We put money in our breasts and we just, mine would even tie it on a knot somewhere here. It will never create abundance for us if we want it more for ourselves than we want it more for other people. So I'm just thinking about it and I'm no longer panicking. It's no longer a big deal. I'll just go online, book my flight, and I am just like, I'm flying. I'm no longer panicking. It's kind of like now it's a lifestyle. And there's a video that I watched, a podcast by Eric Worre, and I've forgotten the name of this guy. He was actually facilitating at the GoPro. And I think it's a podcast they did before or after the conference, you know. And then Eric was asking him, so how often do you fly? How much have you flown this year alone? And he said 55 flights. 55. And Eric was asking, so is it 55, to and fro thing? It's like, no, just 55 trips. I've taken 55 trips this year. I've been at the airport 110 times this year. And then I was thinking, oh my goodness, but it's the same thing. Someone's going to hear me saying I've flown 9 times and they'll be like, to where? Who's funding? What do I, it's not so much about the resource. It's about the abundance mindset where you realize that there's no scarcity, there's abundance, there's so many flight tickets, there's so many opportunities, there's so many airlines. Why am I stuck? Why am I, it's the thinking. And now you then look around, how many people are big minded? Like how many people think like that? And you just find that you're the only one in your circle that thinks like that. And that is where the problem is. Because if you're the only one, then everyone else will weigh you down with their small thinking. But if now you have more people that just book flights on the go, they have a frequent flyer program, they're talking shuttles and airport transfers and this and that, it starts being a giant in your head and it starts being your life, the life that you deserve. And this is just one of the wonders of our profession, the things that you can unlock in our profession, a big vision, big-minded thinking. And think about it, Vera, what you're doing in the self-development group. Think about it. You can literally fly to Nigeria to do it at a stage. You can do it in Egypt. You can do it. What is stopping us? It's our small thinking, our small thinking. So I know I've wrapped up the session so many times, but serve like you are preparing for a big stage. Serve like you are auditioning for a big role somewhere. The person that you like listening to every day, your icon. Serve like one day they're going to call you to a stage and you're going to have an opportunity to share your thoughts, that TED talk, whatever that is to you. And believe it for yourself that you have what it takes. Sometimes on the journey of personal development, we tend to idolize people a lot, and that's not bad, but we tend to then see success as their portion and not your portion. You see other people and you say, I've always known Smooth is going to be in mighty stages. You are going to be in mighty stages. You breathe the same air. You're always in the same environment as her. What is going to stop you? So working on our mindset is and I'm happy the direction these 5 a.m. sessions are taking. They're not the generic, they are not, but trust me, after the session, there's something that challenges you. And think about it, we literally have 2 in a week, and we have how many? We have 52 weeks in total. If we are consistent and we do it, that's 104 opportunities of opening each other's mindset. How amazing is that? Literally, that's 104 mornings. How amazing is that? Of just drumming sense into each other's heads, of creating possibility. It's not enough, Vera, but trust me, it counts for something. When we come back to the principle of compounding, it comes back to something. And it's not nice for the brain. You know, our brains, our bodies are telling us you could be doing something else during this time and this and that. But that's 104. If you were on a diet, that's 104 chances of eating vegetables. Think about it. Or 104 chances of lifting weights, 104 chances of watching your health. It's the not so nice parts of our growth, of our personal growth journeys, but it is rewarding. So as we go out there today, let us want more for ourselves and let us look for opportunities to just expose, other people, just plant that seed of hope, Vero. You say you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Just like we do it to our own children. We don't get tired of planting seeds of hope to our own children. We want our children to do more and be more. But when it comes to our team members, it's so easy for us to give up on them just because they're not doing sissies we feel they don't deserve. Sometimes instead of just preaching to them and telling them they need to do the PVs or sissies, we just need to encourage them. We just need to show them what's possible. Maybe you just need to organize a dreaming session for your team where you just call them and you just come and you watch what is possible. Maybe you just come and put on a video of beautiful homes and you sit with them and you watch, or vacations, or, like opening the mindset and allowing people to see beyond bread and units and water bills and school fees and so on. Even speaking of school fees, the other day I literally sat to study, the most expensive schools in my area. And didn't that cause me to want to work more? Because it's just like, there's no ways, guys. There's no ways the money that I am paying every term for my son and thinking it's expensive is literally every month for someone else. I literally looked at some school and it was about 70,000. 70,000. And I was thinking, yo, if it's 70,000 per annum, and that's not even the most expensive, by the way, that's not even expensive, but now, what that does? It even allows me to go and prospect people that want more, because I can literally go and approach parents at that school and say, if you're paying 70,000 per annum, what if I could show you an opportunity to earn 70,000 a month if you want? Because already, you want more. But because we are living on scarcity, we want to take our children to free, education by the government. When are we ever going to attract more? It will never happen. So sometimes just challenge yourself like that. Go to the most expensive, go to the restaurant. That's what T Half says, that we always just ordering chicken. Go to the restaurant for fine dining, sit down and say, I want your most expensive meal. See what that is going to do to you. Yes, it will feel like it's going to set me back financially, but it's going to also cause you to work harder. By the time you leave, you'll be like, hi, Bo, the most expensive meal is 2.5. That's my groceries for the whole month. Oh my word, let me go and work. Because this thing of always going to order what's on special. We say that all the time. What do you have on special? Give me chicken burger. Give me that, because that's what is cheap. Yeah, if you buy chicken burger, you get a free drink. Give me that one all the time. We don't realize what we're doing as we do that. We are scarcity. There's not enough. So much that you don't even know what you like anymore because you're chickening everything. All right, guys, let me go. I have to do school run. Do you have a great day?
Bye.
Stop chickening everything.
No chickening
Chicken
discussion
dance,
for
chicken
school.
strips. chicken strips, chicken burger, chicken sandwich, chicken
At the
mayo.
end of the day, you are a chicken towards your own dreams, chickening out
La
all the
la
time.
la. You will never be an eagle when you're chickening everything.
Hi, well, guys, let's change. Let's change.
Yeah, go and do that fine dining. Sit and say you want main course, starter, whatnot. I took my mom to a fine restaurant in December. It was an early birthday gift. And I could see that she has a very different reality from me, Shame. So as we were there, the ambience, the Christmas trees, the music, the everything, she was just so blown away by the, environment. And then, then she's observing, she's looking around, and then she sees this lady who's seated by herself ordering food. And she's like, I can't believe there's someone who just comes to sit by herself. I'm like, Mommy, that's a sign of being content with yourself and loving yourself and taking care of yourself. It's not always about having company, and then as we were ordering, we order starter, we order main meal, we order dessert. She was just shocked. By the time we paid the bill and the time I'm tipping, she's like, yo, I didn't know life is this expensive. And, I think the whole time she was just thinking, if she had given me the money, if she had given but somewhere this year, as we were talking, she started talking about a local hangout spot, and she says, yeah, I need to go there. And I'm like, see, your dreams are starting to change, girl. Now you just want to go to experience a soft life, so yeah, sometimes it's just that exposure and bills. You'll come back and pay the bills, but do that one thing that challenges you and causes you to go and work harder. So yeah, stop chickening everything. Stop. I'm gone for real now.